Hello, so welcome to this video. Today we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. For example, let's say we have 1 over 6 add 2 over 3. And if you watched my previous video, you would know that if you have the same denominators, you can just keep them the same and just add the top. Whereas this is not the case for this one, because we've got 6 and 3. So what we need to do is convert one of them into the number that we want. So let's keep 1 over 6 the same, but let's change 2 over 3. So, for example, what we need to do to change 3 into a 6 is times by 2. So we can times this by 2. But whatever you do to the bottom, you must also do to the top. So you must also times the top by 2. So what we have left is 4 over 6. And now you can see we've got fractions we can work with because they have the same denominator. So what you need to do now is 1 over 6, add 4 over 6, keep the denominators the same, 6, and then just add the numerators, which is 1, add 4, which equals 5. So for the next example, we're going to have 3 over 8, add 1 over 2. So what we're going to do here, so we've got to make sure these denominators are equal. So to make these denominators equal, we're going to times by 4 to the bottom because that equals 8. And what you do to the bottom, you must also do to the top. So times by 4. So this fraction is going to be 4 over 8. So now we can proceed to add them because they have the same denominator. So we've got 3 over 8, add 4 over 8, and this equals 7 over 8. So for the next example, we're going to have 7 over 18 and 4 over 9. And we're going to have the same steps once again. So we need to convert one of these fractions into the same. So this has to be 18. So to make 9 18, you have to times by 2. And whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So also times the top by 2. So this fraction, you've got 8 over 18. So you need to add these two together. So you've got 7 over 18, and then add 8 over 18. And 7 add 8 equals 15. 15, keep the denominators the same, over 18. That's your answer. So I'm going to leave some questions on the screen. Go through it, let me know in the comment section how you found it, and then we're going to move on to the next stage of the video. So we're going to move on to a slightly harder example. We've got 5 over 7 add 2 over 5. And as you can see, it's not so easy to convert the denominators into each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a multiple that both of them fit into. So we've got 7 and 5, 35. Because 7 goes into 35 and 5 also goes into 35. So what we need to do is convert this fraction over 35. So what you need to do is times by 5 at the bottom, and then what you must do at the bottom, you must also do to the top. So you times by 5. So for this fraction, you have 5 times 5, which is 25, over 7 times 5, which is 35. Then you add, and then to get 5 into 35, you need to times by 7, and then you also need to times the top by 7. So this gives you 2 times 7, which equals 14, over 5 times 7, which is 35. And now you can see we've got the same denominator. So as we've got the same denominator, we can just add the numerators. 25 add 14, which equals 39, over 35. This number is larger than 35, and this is what we call a top-heavy fraction. So this is when the numerator is larger than the denominator. So here we've got another example. We've got 5 over 8 add 2 over 6. So what we need to do, as we did in the previous example, is find a multiple that both of these numbers go into. So if you want to pause the video and think of a number, that's fine. So a number that's a multiple of 8 and 6 is 24. This is because if you do 8 times 3, you get 24. And if you do 6 times 4, you get 24. So these numbers both go into 24. So what we do, 8 times 3, you times the bottom by 3, you also times the top by 3, you've got 24, and then you've got 15. So 15 over 24. And then you've got to times 6 by 4 to get 24. And what you do to the bottom, as I said before, you must also do to the top. So for this fraction, it's 8 over 24. So as you can see, what you need to do is add 15, add 8, which equals 23, and keep the denominator the same, so it's 24. So the answer is 23 over 24. So now we're going to be subtracting fractions. So we've got 9 over 12 and 1 over 4. And this works the same like addition. So we've got 9 over 12. So what we need to do is convert the 4 into 12. So how are we going to do this? We're going to times by 3. And what you do to the bottom, I said you must do to the top. So you times that by 3. So you're left with a fraction that is 3 over 12. So now you've got 9 over 12 minus 3 over 12. So that equals, what's 9 minus 3? 6. And then you keep the denominators the same. That equals 12. So your final answer is 6 over 12. So we've got 8 over 15 minus 1 over 5. So what we're going to do, we're going to convert this fraction to make it equal 15. So what we do is times by 3 and also times by 3 at the top. So for this fraction, the new fraction is 3 over 15. So you've got the first fraction here, which is 8 over 15. So 8 minus 3 equals 5. And then you keep the denominator the same, so it is over 15. So you've got 5 over 15, and that's your answer. So we've got 4 over 20 minus 1 over 10. We're going to convert 10 into 20, so we do this by times and by 2. Times the top by 2, so we've got 2 over 20, and then we keep this fraction the same, so 4 over 20, minus them from each other, so 4 minus 2 equals 2. Keep the denominator the same, that is 20. So your answer is 2 over 20. So I'm going to put some more questions up on the screen, and yeah, go through them, and I'll put the answers there as well. So we've got 4 over 6 minus 1 over 5. So we can't do this the conventional way that we were doing in the previous examples. So what we do is the same as addition. We've got to convert these into the same number. So we've got to find a multiple that 6 and 5 both go into. So that could be 30. This is because 6 times 5 equals 30, and then 5 times 6 equals 30. So what you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So times by 5, times by 5, and that gives you 20 over 30. You take away times by 6, times the top by 6, and then you've got 6 over 30. So now you've got the same denominators, so the same process as you proceed. 20 minus 6 equals 14 over 30. So we've got 8 over 15 minus 3 over 10. So we've got to find a number that 15 and 10 both go into. Pause the video if you would like to think about it for a minute. The number is 30, or it could be another multiple, but 30 is the lowest one. So What do you need to do to 15 to get 30? You times by 2. So you times by 2 to the bottom. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So you also times by 2. So to get 30 from 10, you times by 3. Times 3, times the top by 3. So for these fractions, you've got 8 times 2, which is 16, over 30. Take away 3 times 3, which is 9, over 10 times 3, which is 30. So now you've got the same denominator, the same process proceeds. So you've got 16 minus 9, which is 7, and then you keep the denominator the same, over 30. So I'm just going to put a few more examples up on the screen, so yeah, feel free to complete them. So I'm just going to put some questions up on the screen. Feel free to complete them. Comment if you're enjoying doing these fractions, and I hope these all go well. So that is the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed and learnt something new. So from this, you should be able to add and subtract fractions with different denominators. Thank you for watching and see you soon.